Okay, and I think we're all set to get going. All right, for our agenda, we have first up will be me kind of going over the state of the organization. We'll also have Brian talking about some of our committees that we have. We're next going to go into some updates around kind of board officer elections and a U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee webinar that we attended this week that we're excited to share with you. We'll also go over some membership, insurance, and risk management items for you, talk about some of the events coming up this year. And that includes our AMJRF, our national championship in 2023, and also talking about US national team qualifying to go to the IJRU World Championships, which are going to be here in the US in Colorado. And then we'll have time for a question and answer session. And then finally closing out with a call to action. All right, so with our organization, I think first and foremost for us is getting jumpers back in person, jumping together, really enjoying the sport that we love. We held 2 in-person tournaments in the past year that were hosted by AMJRF specifically. That was at the Arnold in Columbus. We're planning to be back there. And then also our national championships in 2022 were in Cincinnati. We had about 260 competitors there. And then also, in a single day, we had anywhere from 400 to 900 people in the building. So it was great to see people there. And yeah, just getting people back in person has been huge. And we're planning to continue that as we go forward, obviously taking precautions where we can to make sure that our athletes and everyone in the organization is safe and healthy as much as possible. We are going to also let you know about the AGM that we had there. We had about 50 people turn out, which is a great turnout. Really great engagement and feedback from all of you. So we have been paying attention to that and incorporating that as we go forwards. In terms of finances, we are in a healthy state currently. We had a little bit of a profit from the national tournament that we'll reinvest back towards our athletes and developing the sport here in the US. We've also over the past year had new people volunteering with the organization. We'll talk about a few more of those people in a few minutes here. And then also we'll get into kind of the progress that we've made in our discussions with our highest sporting authority, which is the US Olympic and Paralympic Committee. We implemented a strategic plan for the year. The pie chart that you're seeing over on the side is our key performance indicators and kind of the status of those. We had 114 of them, so we started out pretty ambitious. We were trying to give people a vision of what this organization can be and also, how it can be involved in growing the sport in the US and internationally. We are looking to kind of condense that a bit. We could use more help in some of the areas for sure. But overall, decent progress. We got a fair number of them done. Some of the ones that we had on there that we've completed would be like connecting with the US Olympic and Paralympic Committee. We created a sport development committee and are looking to kind of add a bit more structure and kind of build out the resources to helping your teams and also new teams and programs grow here in the US. We also held nationwide judge training online for this year, and something that we're looking to continue to do. We've had a fair number of people go through our judging cohorts, so that way they can be working on judge training together. We've continued to attend IJRU events and stay connected there, and also set up a virtual leaderboard process as well. And then broadcasting AMJRF events, we live streamed the national tournament. So that was available. For next year, and we'll talk about this a bit more, we are going to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for our national tournament. So we're excited to be there. And also out of that, we have continued discussions with other sites. So we are looking to announce our 2024 event early. We're still finalizing some of those discussions, but want to kind of get ahead of the game now that we're coming out of a pandemic to some extent at least, and able to hold in-person tournaments and have kind of reasonable safeguards as we're going forwards. I'll pause there for now and then turn it over to Brian to talk about our standing committees and ad hoc committees.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, everybody. My name is Brian Shue. I'm the Vice President of AMJRF. Thanks for taking the time today to talk about jump rope. So we're going to review just who is involved with our committees in the organization, starting with the standing committees. These are written into the bylaws and are recurring yearly. So for finance, we have Natalie Mikowski. For communications, Kenzie Christensen. For sport development, myself. For the competition committee, we have Jessica Nicholson. And for the Athlete Advisory Council, Taylor Nicholson. If you go ahead and go to the next slide, Chris. Thank you. So these are ad hoc committees. These are not in the bylaws, but they are recurring yearly and are an important part of the operations for the organization. So for the National Tournament Planning Committee, we have Sarah Hartman. For state organizations, Graham Booth. Scholarship Committee, Jenny Menser. And the Arnold Championship Planning Committee is Jessica Nicholson. So these are some of the important people that help make sure that things get done in AMJRF. And you've all probably interacted with these folks or benefited from some of the volunteer work that they've put in across the years.
Thanks, Brian. We should also mention that we have 5 of our current board members on the call who have also put a significant amount of time and effort into the sport. So we'll be introducing a few of them here in a moment with Brian and Mike. So that's going to be our first update. So I'm going to turn it over to Mike Fry to do that.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to do a quick overview of our officer election results. You may see some familiar faces. So returning as president, we have Chris Brown, Vice President Brian Shue, Secretary Noah Mancuso, and then we're welcoming a new treasurer, Brandon Tuddy. He's not previously affiliated with jump rope, which is actually great because we're expanding our reach and starting to attract some really great people outside of the sport. He's a CPA with Clifton Larson Allen out of Raleigh, North Carolina. So great hotbed of jump rope, and we're going to get him out to a jump rope competition soon, hopefully. He works in assurance with nonprofit experience. And then also really excited to welcome a new board member, Carla Leroy. If there was a jump rope Hall of Fame, she would be in it. She's a huge role model to me and inspiration for many of us on the call who were jumping in the late 90s, early 2000s. So really excited to have her here. Carla, did you want to say anything else?
Yeah, I'm just excited to be on this side of the sport as I was a coach and jumper for so long. So I'm really excited. Also, I guess I relocated to Phoenix, and so I don't currently have a team. I helped virtually coach the Tsunami Skippers last year and hope to do that a little bit this year, but my coaching responsibilities have lessened, so I'm excited to jump on the board responsibilities this year.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carla, and welcome. We also have Mike, who's one of our board members, and we have Anita Gable on the call as well. For those that aren't in attendance, unfortunately, we have a few people away at the moment, but we have Noah Mancuso continuing in his role as a board member, along with Taylor Nicholson and also Dave Tenley. So there are 8 of us currently. Moving on. So we mentioned about the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. So we attended a webinar this week, and it was around an application that they're opening up. So we're just getting details about this really, but it's to become an affiliate organization of theirs. The difference would be in terms of recognition that kind of their highest recognition would be if we were a national governing body that's recognized by them. We're in a little bit of a catch-22 in that we have to be an Olympic sport in order for them to recognize us as an NGB. But then also, you know, for IJRU to benefit them, we have to be recognized as the NGB in our country by our highest sporting authority, which is the USOPC. So until they really become an Olympic sport, we may not get that form of recognition, but we also are going to do everything that we can to be prepared for when that day comes. And part of that would be gaining this recognition and being an affiliate organization recognized by the USOPC. So they'll have their affiliate organization council review our application. If we're recommended, that will then be passed on to the USOPC board. So really putting jump rope and jumpers at the forefront in terms of the sporting authority in the US here. And part of that will be hopefully making further connections with other national governing bodies and other sports, and really trying to build out this organization in the best way possible and providing a platform to highlight our athletes. And this is really an outgrowth of the work that we've done in the previous year, where we attended a Teams conference, which we'll talk about a bit more in a bit too, where we connected with a bunch of different host cities in terms of places that we can go for our national tournaments, but then also alongside that, the USOPC had sessions that we are able to attend and talk with a few of their board members, some of their chair and vice chair of national governing bodies services. And that's kind of how we made the connections here. And they recommended that we take a look at this. So we'll be working on that application. It's coming up here in October. So a decent amount of our time might be focused on that for the moment. Let's move on to membership and all of you. And Brian's going to cover some of that for us.
Great, thanks, Chris. So nothing's changed too far or too much in terms of the membership structure. The season runs from September 1st to August 31st of the following year. The standard membership is still $25. The administrative membership is required for coaches, administrators of both clubs and the organization. And as part of that, you'll be doing a background check and some safety training that's valid for 2 years. The club membership is also $30 and provides insurance coverage for your practices. And here's a little bit of membership by the numbers, which is what we presented at the AGM during nationals in June. So we had a little bit of dip off due to COVID, but we're picking back up this year, and hopefully we'll end 2023 with even bigger numbers than before.
Thanks, Brian. Next, we're going to move on to insurance and risk management with the lovely Anita Gable.
Thank you, Brian. I wanted to just mention that as a risk management officer, I'm also AMJRF Ohio State agent, and I'm excited to continue to work with AMJRF and being compliant with risk management and sports safety practices. I also want to bring attention to people that have really helped a lot on creating our documentation and looking into other national governing bodies and how they're currently working with their risk management. And Cindy Weatherford has done a lot to help us out in that area, and also Shelley Branch. So thank you so much for your continued help in that area. As we first start with our insurance review, we are going to have the insurance through our Sadler Insurance Company. All AMJRF members and event non-members will be covered during sanctioned events. We also have the insurance amounts. We've increased our general liability to that $3 million. We have included the sports accident coverage for this year, the abuse and molestation coverage at $1 million, directors and officers coverage, and then new this year, to secure safely our AMJRF equipment, we have that equipment insurance. For our certificates of insurance, there's a couple options. You could be a club member, which means that all members on your team would need to be AMJRF members. The coach of record must have an administrative membership to follow through with all risk management expectations. If you're hosting a sanctioned event, you could get a certificate of insurance for your workshops or competitions. And then we also have our filing of claim information that is available for anyone who may need to file that claim. As far as our risk management mission, we have a risk management committee that's been working tirelessly on all the documents to keep us up to date. So we will be enhancing the sport of jump rope in the United States through alignment with best practices in sports and risk management. The plan of action this year will be to align with safe sport policy under the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee, and to prevent emotional, social, and physical abuse, to that will protect our youth in the sport of jump rope. So by doing that, by September 1st, 2023, we will have and support that mandatory reporting through Safe Sport. We will increase athletic protection by implementing the AMJRF Safe Sport policy, which is currently in draft with all sanctioned events, and increase collaboration with law enforcement during hosted events to ensure the safety of all participants and those that attend. And we will be preparing for automated compliance to align with the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. So if you want additional information, that will be available on the website through our AMJRF risk management. The next slide covers just the things that would be included in our management program. So increased risk management, secondary insurance coverage, mandatory reporting, background checks, concussion education, abuse and molestation awareness training, conflict of interest, and the certificates of insurance. So if anyone's interested, we are looking for other people to be involved in helping in this area. Just please contact us, and we would welcome your background and information that you could contribute to the success of AMJRF. Thank you.
Thanks, Nina. Next up, we're going to go over events. We're going to start with our event registration and sanctioning, and Brian's going to cover that for us.
Hello again. Not too much change here in terms of the structure. So if you've gone through this process before, it will be similar as it was last year. There is a certificate of insurance for your sanctioned event. It'll be advertised on our calendar, which is no longer under construction. It is actually live on the website. All of the registration will go through Sports Engine. And if you do choose to buy the AMJRF scoring system, that service will be provided with technical support as well, with the judging done via the Jump Rope Judge app. The notable change for this year, which actually occurred midway through last year, AMJRF is now charging $5 per person for use of their system. So we are just baking that into the sanctioning fee cost if you choose to use that part of the software. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or to events@amjrf.com, and we can continue the conversation there.
Thanks, Brian. Coming up next, we're going to talk about our AMJRNC, or American Jump Rope National Championship for 2023. Hopefully you've seen now that we're going to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So this is actually one of the connections that we made out of the teams conference in Atlantic City that we went to. Milwaukee was actually featured pretty prominently. They were up on stage, and they have a Visit Milwaukee and also Sport Milwaukee organizations that work to put on sporting events in Milwaukee. They actually recently hosted the USA Triathlon National Championships there, so they have experience running events that will likely be even larger than ours. Hopefully we can grow to that point at some point. But we're also planning to be there from June 27th will be our registration day on Tuesday, running through our Grand National Championship on Saturday with age division championships in between. We will be sending out more details about packages and pricing as soon as we have that. We also have negotiated and will be including in the contract with them a hotel room block. So we'll let you know what those hotels are and any discounted rates that can be offered. Tied to that, if you're able to stay in one of those, obviously it's still your choice where you stay. It helps us out, all of us really, because we're able to kind of work to keep your costs down. And actually, if we hit a certain target of the number of rooms throughout the week, there are actually kind of multiple levels. We get heavily discounted the arena price. So that could be anywhere between, $5,000 to $10,000, $20,000 off the arena price, which would be a great cost savings that way. And then also looking at kind of discounted hotel rates for you. The venue that we'll be in is the UW Milwaukee Panther Arena. We'll have a basketball court similar to what we had at Cincinnati. Also working on kind of practice areas for you and making sure we have some of that set aside on the wood court, and then also, kind of wood flooring nearby that's not too far to travel to. There are also hotels in the area. I actually drove up there for a site visit to walk around and meet people at hotels with Sport Milwaukee, also in the arena. Here's a list of some of the hotels. One that you'll see here in the picture would be the Hilton Milwaukee in their city center. And it's just an example of one of the rooms. We will send out that list and further details when we have those for you and kind of the negotiated rates. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing hopefully all of you there, or as many of you as can make it. Also this year, another large tournament in the US will be the IJRU World Championships are going to be in Colorado Springs, and we're able to send a US national team to that as kind of the recognized national governing body by IJRU in the US. And so the way that you can qualify for that national team will be by videoing your events at an AMJRF sanctioned competition. Those will be hosted throughout the year. I should also add that on our AMJRF website, we have a calendar, and you can also put in a calendar request along with kind of that event sanctioning that you have. So even if you're not planning to hold a sanctioned event, you just have a jump rope event, on that calendar request form, if you would let us know, we can feature that on our calendar, and we'll really try and promote our sanctioned events and jump rope and continue to do that. Hopefully you've seen on our social media that we're really trying to promote jumpers and feature them. But yeah, back to the national team qualifying. So you'll submit just one video per event. So you can go to multiple sanctioned competitions, find out what your best event is. That'll reduce the workload on our judges. If you're interested in being a certified judge on the certified panel that will be rejudging those, let us know. We'd love to have you involved with that. And then based on the results of that judging, the US national team will be selected. We'll get to some of the questions that were pre-submitted, but in the past year, the senior world championships were the top 3 overall scores, and then we were granted a few additional places. So we'll likely be something similar, same thing for the junior tournament. And then the International Open tournament will be kind of next highest qualifiers. We're likely going to have video submission guidelines that'll be very similar to what was done for the virtual world championship if you were involved in that, but we will publish those and have those available for you as soon as they're ready. I know our competition committee is working hard on that. All right, we've arrived in our Q&A session. I'm going to first go over some of the pre-submitted questions that we had. One of them is tied to what we just talked about. So Pam Evans had 3 questions. One of them was, how many athletes will be able to qualify for IJRU's tournament? Is there a set number per event and age group? So that hasn't been published just yet. We will communicate that to you as soon as we can. Likely we'll have at least 3 slots in the junior and senior world championships. And then similar with the IOT, taking kind of the next 3 highest qualifiers in the age divisions. And there are more age divisions in the IOT than the senior and juniors. So yeah, that covers kind of her next question. Is the open tournament open to all? Not exactly. So she also made a note that some teams can't afford to attend both Worlds and AMJRF's competitions. Some parents can't change vacation times at work to go to AMJRF instead of Worlds if they don't qualify. So that's good to note. We appreciate you letting us know that, and we understand. We want you to jump wherever you can jump. So if you can, come out, jump with us, either at IJRU or AMJRF, wherever you can make it. And then there was a question on, can a country have more than one team show for IJRU's World Championships? So previously, when it was going to be held in person, it was just one, but same kind of thing. We're set up with our leaderboard process where if someone can't go for some reason or we're granted additional slots, we can just take the next kind of highest qualifying score. All right, we also had a couple questions, or several questions from Renee Ellis. One of them was, will this junior and senior competitors be competing on the same day for both speed and freestyle for Nationals 2023? It's a great question. Hasn't been determined yet. It's definitely something that we can consider. I think one of the potential benefits would be if they're not on the same day, you can have your older jumpers helping out the younger jumpers. So it's definitely something that we will look at. And there's a little bit of a balance in terms of, the number of participants that we have and, timing and whatnot. If we have to reset the floor and like go from a speed station setup to freestyle station setups, it just takes a little bit of time to do that transition. So we also want to be mindful of that as well. She also asked, is there a consideration for reduced costs for potential parent CrossFit competitors trying to compete only speed at Nationals 2023? I'm actually going to have Brian handle this one.
Yeah, so I think we can definitely consider that, keeping in mind that, this is a national championship. And so while we are small, we're happy to accommodate as many people as we can reasonably in terms of inclusivity and pricing and things. One day there will probably be a qualifying for this event, a structure around that. But until then, walk-ons and things of that nature, we'd love to have as many people involved as we can. So we can definitely look into pricing options for those cohorts for Milwaukee.
Thanks, Brian. And then another good question, are there any potential changes for the rulebook requirements that AMJRF is aware of? So some of those rules are being voted on by the IGRU Technical Congress coming up here. Some of the topics would include moving the repeated skills from the required elements judge to the difficulty judge. So that doesn't really affect jumpers per se, but it will also make the required element judge's job significantly easier. They were previously having to effectively judge difficulty and required elements at the same time. So that's useful. Also, there is on the table having difficulty reduce its weight. So difficulty not weighing quite as much. Also, for presentation, the plus and minus marks will impact the score about 3 times as much as they would have previously. So that would be a significant change. Granted, presentation weighed very little in the previous rule version. But yeah, we'll have to see if the balance was struck well there in terms of having presentation and creativity weigh a bit more that way. So there are a few others like coaches boxes and violations. They're also looking at a set number of appeals for countries or NGBs at the World Championship. Also something that we could look at doing for clubs and teams in speed scores. So using the video replay, having the option to challenge a score if you feel the score was not correct. All right. I think we have a couple additional questions. Julie asked, will all housing for nationals be at hotels? So you can stay wherever you like in the area. There won't necessarily be university dorms this time, but there will be options for hotels in the area. And part of that was, we specialize in jump rope, and it allows us to put a bit more focus on promoting the sport in the area, really trying to do some activation events, working with Sport Milwaukee and bringing in spectators that haven't seen jump rope or, have seen it or are just interested and fans of the sport, and or non-fans, just anyone coming in, exposing jump rope to more people that way. And yeah, so you're free to look for kind of affordable housing in the area. For what we'll share with you, it'll be that hotel room block where you can stay. So I have Suna asking, will the selection of the national team be as deep as it was for the part virtual world tournament, given all of the events and gender categories? Unfortunately, we don't know that for sure, but we will let you know as soon as we can. There is kind of a time and space component to holding an in-person world championship. So I think that is an insightful question. It's entirely possible that it'll be less, but that still remains to be seen. At the moment, kind of the biggest source of revenue for most jump rope organizations is having people at your largest tournaments. So it's something to work on as well in terms of us, finding additional revenue streams, whether that's sponsorship. We have someone working on that currently, or, just different opportunities that way. I also got a question about, does a new US resident, I think it's essentially asking, are they able to participate at the national competition? So we do actually have, through AMJRF, they have a citizenship policy. So we can connect you with that and pull up the link for you. And we've been following the AMJRF rules. But do we have any other questions? And I can go see if I can find that link for you.
And for folks who are who joined a little late or who are looking to find some of the resources that we've been talking about, the slides will be posted online, and we can include things like the link that Chris is looking for. So if you've heard anything that you want to click on or read more about, check the website for those slides shortly after this is done.
Real quick, I'm going to navigate to that site here. So for any of you, if you have kind of questions on the jump rope rules that we've been following, our International Federation for Jump Rope is the International Jump Rope Union, AMJRF. So they have got their rule books here and also kind of their governing documents. There's a section here that has kind of sport, nationality, and change forms, also talking about their policy. So I will drop that in the chat for you. Okay. All right, last call. Any final questions for us at this point? Obviously, you can connect with us at any point. You can reach out to info@amjrf.com. We'll also talk about some of the ways that you can stay connected. All right, I'm not seeing anything else. So briefly, we do have open positions available on our committees. Some of them include like nominating and governance. That sounds like a lot, but really we could definitely have people, if you're interested in just talking to people that are interested in jump rope and finding ways that they can help out and advance the sport. Even if you can just give a few minutes each week to make a phone call or every other week, it really helps us network and grow if we can be reaching out to people. We mentioned that, we've really tried to work our network and have found some people that haven't been previously involved in jump rope. So we can definitely think of that. If you think of someone who has the talent, or maybe they're starting out kind of early career, looking to build their resume, definitely let us know. We also have audit committee. So if you're financially inclined, we also have a finance committee, but really, making sure that we're reviewing our finances, being good stewards of those funds, and really investing and growing that way so that we can put that back towards jumpers and all of you. We also have a judicial committee that could use kind of, so they would review any code of ethics violations, anything along those lines. They probably wouldn't meet on an extremely regular basis. So if you're looking kind of less involved, that might be something that you could do. Or if you have ideas of ways that, you want to see the sport grow and are willing to put in some time and effort towards that, we can definitely work with you on that. All right. I'll let Brian cover kind of staying connected, and then we'll also have just kind of a closing call to action. While he does that, I'm going to take a look at the chat. Look like we had a couple more things coming.
Cool, thanks, Chris. I think maybe most of you have seen most of these pages. We have the website, amjrf.com. All the resources we've talked about will be there, with pretty much anything connected to the organization as far as information about board members, the calendar, sanctioning, request forms, everything that you need is on this website. So go ahead and check that out. We do have membership email for memberships. You can opt into this. If you go to the website and scroll to the bottom, you can provide your contact info and you get added to that mailing list. Facebook, facebook.com/AMJRF. Same thing for Instagram. We're constantly trying to promote jump rope on social media, resharing athletes who deserve to be seen, whether you're just getting involved with jump rope or have a crazy new elite trick. We're just resharing athlete stuff from any level, because that's really what the sport is about. And we're also growing our LinkedIn profile, recruiting and networking with other professionals to try and get strong experts in areas, providing their leadership and guidance for the sport. So do check us out on these platforms and give us a follow.
Thanks, Brian. And I saw the question from the Meeks about the cost to submit for the national team. Part of that too, Brian answered it well, is that we've been paying our certified judges that handle kind of that certified judging panel that reviews those videos. It's allowed us to be a little bit more selective, and we don't have to fill out a ton of different panels if we don't need to, but allows us to kind of put our best judges in the various slots. But the more people that we have doing that, the quicker that we can get those results turned around as well. So if you're able to judge, we'd love to have you do that. And then our call to action. I think we've made this point a few times with you, but in order for us to take this sport that we love to the next level, it takes all of us. And so in whatever you can do, if you can get involved with this organization, we'd love to help you out. If you just have ideas of ways that the sport can grow and you're willing to put in a little bit of time, we're out here doing that. We're working and building towards the Olympics, but also just raising the profile of jump rope in our country and worldwide. And we do that, on an almost daily basis by sharing jump rope on social media, by working with the USOPC and getting recognition that way, connecting with other sporting organizations and national governing bodies and whatnot. So I really feel like we've done a good job of laying the foundation to grow this sport. There's so much more that we can do. And if you're interested, we have our strategic plan from last year. We're kind of working on one for this coming year as well. That's up on our website. And we'll be releasing that to you as soon as we have it as well. So it gives a little bit of our vision for how jump rope can grow in the US. But again, it takes all of us, and we're so excited that you're all here with us still and getting people out and jumping in the US. So I think that's all we have for you today, but we really appreciate you taking the time on a Saturday, engaging with us, and let's stay connected and keep pushing the sport forward. Thanks everyone for joining, and we will look forward to seeing you again soon.
Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.